All right, it is May 1st, 2024. Welcome to today's live Zoom session. Lots of things to be discussed. A lot of interesting things have happened over the past few days. There was, of course, the Bitcoin halving. I think China is going into a Bitcoin ETF also, which should be it should be larger than the Bitcoin ETF for the US. And a few other things have been taking place. Namely, it's also been my birthday, and I decided to come to Bali, Indonesia, to celebrate my birthday, to enjoy a great time with family, with friends, meet up with a few people. There's, of course, the Cryptonaire network designer who is in a neighboring country. And the team, some of the team are here with me. So the main man himself is still in that other country, which is going to be location number 2 of the Cryptonaire network tour. Now, a few things are already taking place. If I go ahead and share my screen with you all. So let me just share screen and click on desktop. You should be able to see my screen over here. And this is our Instagram page, by the way. So I shared about my birthday over here, and I gave 11 life philosophies that I've learned over the past 10 years. But since there are some people here that are new, I want to share with you some very important things over here. So first, let's get logged in over here. Now, what is special about Cryptonaire Network is that all the information you require is available to you literally 24/7. As soon as you log into the dashboard, there are 3 steps for you to follow over here. It's of course impossible to follow it and be on the Zoom session at the same time. So all you have to do, for those of you that are fresh to Cryptonaire Network, as well as for those of you that might have registered your account a long time ago and didn't take action at all, is log into your account. It's a free account, of course, and then go ahead and take action on the things that you need to take action on. And the steps are over here. So if you click on step 1, for example, it's going to take you to view this presentation. This 38-minute presentation literally shares absolutely everything with you. The Zoom sessions, I want it to be unique. And that's the reason why the Zoom sessions are here. So I can give you live feedback on things, live updates on things, and teach you things live and take your questions, etc. So that's what the Zoom sessions are here for. But what's been happening is a lot of people have been hopping into the Zoom sessions wanting information, or all the information about Cryptonaire Network. And what I will start doing here is, because people love to attend Zooms, is I'm going to create a full-on Zoom presentation, which is almost ready. It's over 90% ready, with some amazing edits, and everything is orchestrated very well. And that it will be a repeat Zoom. And that repeat Zoom will take place every 2 days. And I'm going to start doing unique Zoom sessions like this, 2, maybe 3 times a week. For now, it's going to be every 3 days at this specific time, regardless of where in the world I am. So if it's 3 in the morning for me, when it's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, wherever I'm going to be, then it's 3 in the morning, I'm going to be up to deliver that Zoom session. So we're not going to change the time of the Zoom sessions. They'll be taking place at this specific time. It works well for most regions of the world. So all of the information is there on those steps. This 38-minute video, I kid you not, if I could make it 30 seconds shorter, I would. And most people would probably take an hour and a half or 2 hours to fit in all the information that's on this video right here. Now, what I want to discuss with you today is your action steps. Your action steps are very simple. For those of you that are fresh, is to log into the dashboard and follow those 3 steps. So if I click on the homepage over here right now, and excuse my cold, I've just been jumping on this cold swimming pool for the past few days. I'm going to shift to another villa, and I ended up catching a slight cold. But in the next 2 hours or so, I should be fresh as always. So step 1, step 2, and step 3 are over here. go through the steps. It's very easy. And then you're going to have all the information that you need. The life philosophies that I've learned. I know I'm quite young. I'm 30 right now. But I can safely say in the past 10 years, I've lived, in a sense, an extreme life. In the past 10 years, I've traveled all across the world. I have made, and for most people, an obscene amount of money. I have lived on both ends of the spectrum, extremely financially broke and extremely financially rich. I have gone through more than what most people have gone through. It's been like an accelerated life, you can say. And most people have always been shocked about my age for many years. I've written about my birthday and my life philosophies that I've gathered over the last 10 years across multiple channels. And a lot of my friends thought that I was a lot older. And they thought I was a lot older because I was wiser than my age. And it's simply thanks to the internet. It's no part because I'm a genius or because I'm this very smart guy. It's literally because I grew up in an age where my generation, right, the millennials, grew up with relatively little technology, but ended up growing up with the computer, with the internet after a short while. And so what happened was I have the old school discipline, the old school mannerism, the old school, you can say, hardcoreness. I'm not a softie like the new generation. And at the same time, I have adapted to the ways of the internet. So we live in an information world right now. And I have gathered a lot of information, a lot of mistakes I've learned from other people, not just through reading books, but by interacting with people and learning from their errors, and they learn from my errors. And so you guys, for example, are learning from my errors. And so what I want to share with you here is my take on the last 10 years. And it's a life philosophy that I believe anyone should follow, for the rest of their life. So this is the post on the life philosophies. I'm going to break down each one with you here. I think it's very important, actually, that I do. And so, yeah, this is what I was doing. I was dirt biking by the beach here in Bali, Indonesia, with some family. Had a great time. And this is how I spent it. So, life philosophies, 11 life philosophies for people of all ages. The first one is very important, and it's first for a reason, which is write down the man or woman that you wish to become. A very long time ago, I wrote down everything that I wanted. All right. So I was living in the UK, hence my accent, in London, and it was always raining. The weather was just harsh and horrible. The sky was gray. Lots of siblings. So I was sharing a room with siblings. And we didn't really grow up too privileged, right? We didn't grow up privileged. We had a roof over our head, food to eat. So I'm very grateful for that, of course, loving family and all of that. So that was, in a way, ahead of most people. But I never had any handouts. I've never worked a day job ever in my life. I had to earn everything, and I've earned literally 100% of my income, every single dollar, on the internet my entire life. So everything I've spent, everything I'm spending, I've made through the internet. Then through crypto investments, and then the crypto investments, everything went up from there. But I've always written down the man that I wish to be. I wrote down my targets. So what I wrote down as a humble 16-year-old or 17, I can't remember the age exactly, was I wanted to move to an island. I wanted to move to an island. I wanted to have a big villa. I wanted to have a really nice office in the villa. I wanted to be near the beach. and get into shape, go to the gym, get into shape, do Muay Thai, boxing, whatever the case is. So get into a combat sport. And I wanted to live a life where I didn't have to worry about money in any way. I didn't have to look at the right side of the menu. The right side of the menu is how much what I'm buying costs. I wanted to look only at the left side of the menu and just be able to purchase it. And so this was what I had written down. As I wrote that down, I started to adopt this thought process and I created a routine for myself. And so the way that I adopted this thought process was every time I would wake up in my room, in England, in the gray sky, in the cold, was I just had my eyes closed. Literally, I literally had my eyes closed as I got off the bed and I just imagined the villa. I imagined this incredible compound. That's where I was waking up from. I had a palm tree in the villa. And I mapped it out in my head. And the beach was right there and it was nice and sunny. I didn't have to wear a jacket. I wore a t-shirt, some shorts, sandals, and I went out to have some healthy breakfast and go to the gym. And this was what I had in my mind. But then I went to school on a bicycle, 30-minute, 40-minute ride, and in the cold. But that's not where I was living. And so what happened is, it's not just about thinking that. Obviously, it requires action. But what happened was, because my thought process was there, the natural question that was constantly running on my mind is, how did I make it happen? I didn't even say, how do I make it happen? Because I was there already. I asked myself, how did I make it happen? Okay, I made it happen by making crazy money on the internet. How do I make a crazy amount of money on the internet? And then I started to put the pieces together and get to work. Eventually, I was in that villa. And it was so similar to what was in my mind. This big compound, palm tree. One of the rooms was an office. I had incredible people around, very close to the beach. The gym was right there. I was doing Muay Thai, which is a Thai boxing. If you watch the UFC, for example, that's what they do, kickboxing and wrestling and things like this. But the kickboxing is actually Thai kickboxing, which is called Muay Thai. And 2 months into it, living like that, I woke up one day and I said, hang on a second. This is exactly what I had visioned myself before when I was in England, in the cold, in the gray sky, in the winters, in the harsh environment, in the ghettos, so to speak, because I wasn't in any fancy area in London. This is exactly what I had been thinking day in and day out, every waking moment. And so what happens when you're so in it is you'll achieve your goal and you'll completely forget that you've achieved your goal, because in your mind, you were already there the whole time. So that's the first life philosophy to adapt, which is write down the man or woman that you wish to become. The second one is very important. The second one is seek pleasure in temporary discomfort. Now, every time you progress, you have to adapt, right? You have to adapt in two ways. First, you need to have the skill sets, right? You need to actually grow as a person to be able to reach the goal that you want. So you've got a lot of learning to do. And then secondly, you've got a lot of action to take. And what happens is you learn, you take action, you fail, you figure out where you failed and what went right. Usually more things go wrong than right. Then you adapt, you learn, or you go again. And eventually you get more things right than you get wrong. And the whole point of Cryptonaire Network is to give you that complete shortcut. I have gone through so many errors in the past 10 years, in the past decade. I have gone through so many mistakes, and I have written down those mistakes, very carefully analyzed it. I'm an extreme analyzer. I analyze absolutely everything. And I've put all of that work and all of those results into Cryptonaire Network. And it's so easy on your end. I wish there was something like this 10 years ago. I'd be so much further ahead than I am today if something like Cryptonaire Network was out there, because all I would have to do is copy and paste some marketing material, blast it out everywhere, figure out how to bring in more traffic. I get access to the guy who can teach me everything. He's live on Zoom all of the time. All I have to do is ask him. I go through his material and I learn from him. And now everything that he's gone through, I don't have to go through. And on top of that, he's giving me the exact same platform he's making money from. He's built the whole platform, and I have this shortcut. However, it's still important to seek pleasure in temporary discomfort. There's areas in your life that you need to improve, habits and routines, etc., that you need to form. And the start of anything is uncomfortable and, for the most part, without results. That's the start of anything. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying to you. Anyone who tells you start something and it's going to be okay and you're going to be comfortable all the way through is lying to you. And so what you have to do is you have to get through that barrier of discomfort. That barrier, you have to hit it one way or another. What most people do, which is very odd to me, is they start to get some discomfort, then they stop. And what happens when you do that is a week goes by, a month goes by, or maybe even several years go by, or even more scary than that, your life goes by. And then you look back and you say, you know what? I should have just kept going through with it. If I keep going through with it, I'll get results. And so you have to go through some temporary discomfort. The champions, the winners, the big players in the world, and you don't have to be a big player in the world. You could just make a few $1,000s a month, $10,000 a month, $50,000 a month, anything that is reasonably simple for anyone to achieve. And you don't have to go through a lot of discomfort to do that. But the beginning is always going to be uncomfortable and it's going to be without results. But it's necessary. And so the beginning of new habits, they are hard to form. So habits are difficult to form. Once you formed it, it's easy to maintain. Once you formed habits, it's easy to maintain. So whatever the habit is, whether it's a good habit or a bad habit, it's easy to maintain. So for example, if you always eat junk food, that's a bad habit. It will be hard to break, but it will be easy to maintain. You don't even have to think about it. Similarly, if you always eat healthy food, that will be easy to maintain and it will be hard to break. So whether it's a very good habit, whether it's a success habit, or whether it's a very bad habit, it's a habit that's going to make you fail, it's going to be easy to maintain. So when somebody 10 years later says, oh, it's easy to make millions of dollars, oh, it's easy to be in good shape, oh, it's easy to do this and do that, they're not thinking about things about your habits necessarily. For them, it's easy because of the habits that they formed and because of the temporary discomfort that they've had at the beginning. Now, what separates that winner from the world stage, from those world champions, from the legendary names throughout history, is that Every single extremely high performer, not the top 1%, I'm talking the top one, the top of the top. Every single one of them in any field in all of history, I have noticed through studying them that they all love the discomfort. Every single one of them. That temporary discomfort, they live in it. Comfort is their discomfort. And I've noticed, and I don't recommend this, they don't have a ceiling, meaning they reach any height and they're going to keep going. And the reason they keep going is because of these two words: temporary discomfort. They are in love with that. They're in love with optimizing their habits, optimizing their routines, optimizing their performance, whether the performance is conquering land or doing making the light bulb, or in boxing, whatever the case is, politics, anything. They continue no matter what. But no matter how big their results are, they don't have a ceiling. They just keep going. I don't recommend that. I recommend you to have a number in your mind, for example, and then from there, rest. From there, just rest. So for some people, like I've got friends, their number is $10 million. Some people it's $100 million. One guy is $1 billion, for example. Other people that just don't have a number, they have specific targets. I've noticed that people with specific targets, not a money target, end up making more money. So my target was a very particular lifestyle. And then once I achieved that, I've got my habits in place already. So it's just difficult to stop. Hence, I built Cryptonaire network and all of that stuff, and I didn't need to. So seek pleasure in temporary discomfort. It's very important. Number 3, cultivate your surroundings. Let me just get some tissue here. Excuse me. Cultivate your surroundings. Whatever it is you want to achieve, your surroundings are either going to make it easier for you or they're going to make it more difficult. Make sense? Your surroundings will either make it easier for you or more difficult. My job in Cryptonaire Network, I literally work for you. I want to let you guys know my position here. I don't want you to think, very highly of me. I don't want to waste his time. I don't want to disturb him. I literally work for you. My job is to make it so that your surroundings with Cryptonaire Network will make whatever you want to achieve as easy as possible. So you got to cultivate your surroundings. Very important to cultivate your surroundings. I spoke here surroundings in terms of certain people, but surroundings can be in terms of anything. For example, if I go to, let's say I go to the hotel, right? When I go to the hotel, I will tell the hotel, just make sure the mini fridge is empty. Water only. I don't want snacks there. I'm not a fan of sugar anyway. I just can't handle sugar. So even if there was some soda there, I wouldn't drink it. But I don't like it there anyway. If it's not there, I can't have it. And usually when I travel 1 month at a time. I book a villa or an apartment or whatever the case is. If I like the place, I extend. Bali is one of those places. I loved it every single time that I come here. So cultivate your surroundings. Use your surroundings to your advantage. How I cultivate my surroundings is I always have books. I always have books. I always have clean food around. I always have good people around. I cut off bad people very quickly. I cut off lazy people very quickly. Indecisive people is just the worst. I cut off indecisive people. They don't have longer than a minute. I have said in my younger days, I'm still young now, but I've said screw you more than I've said hello. And now for the most part, I say hello. I'm very, very kind and gentle because I've cultivated my surroundings, but I've had to be very harsh in the past to have a no nonsense rule about my surroundings. And so right now with my surroundings and the people that I have around, they drive me forward. They push me forward. They're ahead of me in certain areas in life. And it helps me move forward. But everyone should have in their surrounding a certain types of people. First, for myself personally, this is important. Maybe not so much for those of you that are beginning. If you're beginning in crypto, if you're beginning with marketing, if you're beginning with doing things on the internet, making sales, getting results, things like that, having a student is not going to be necessary for you. But for me, something that's very important, for example, now is have a student to teach to keep you sharp. So if I didn't have you to share with you the skill sets that I've gained, the results that I've gained, what works and what doesn't work, I wouldn't be as sharp. And I wouldn't be as sharp because I might end up forgetting. And I might end up forgetting because there's 4 stages to competence. Competence meaning how well you're able to do things. The first stage, the very bottom, is unconscious incompetence. It means you don't even know what you don't know. Some of you are at this stage, which is why I keep pushing, log into Cryptonaire network and go through all of the content. There's things you don't even know that you don't know, and you might keep screwing up. Number 2, you have what's called conscience incompetent. Conscience incompetent is when you have a conversation with somebody ahead of you and you have this aha moment where the aha moment is like, oh, I wasn't aware of this. I need to be aware of this. I need to learn this. That means you're aware that you're incompetent. And now you're going to reach that next stage where you have conscious competence. Conscious competence is the same like, let's say when I got on this dirt bike. When I got on this dirt bike, it was my first time. And before I got on it and before I went through the lesson, I was consciously incompetent. I was aware I don't know how to ride on a dirt bike. I don't know how to ride on a dirt bike. I need to learn it. The video you're seeing now is I'm consciously competent, which means I have to think and I have to concentrate to get it right. Now, if I keep driving this dirt bike over and over again, it's going to be similar to how maybe most of you drive a car, or a lot of you drive a car. You don't have to think anymore. It's called unconscious competence. Unconscious competence basically means you don't even have to think about it. You're so damn good at it. You can even do other things at the same time. So I have reached the stage of unconscious competence. And in order to remain sharp, I need students. I need people like you so I can teach you, I can guide you forward, and it's going to keep me sharp. So this is one way for me to cultivate my surroundings, is building Cryptonaire network and making things as simple and as easy as possible for you. If I can explain things to you in a simple manner, then it means I'm still sharp, right? If I can get you to understand it, it means I'm still sharp. I'm still able to enunciate things in a certain way that anyone can understand. And this is a very important skill set to have. So a student to teach to keep you sharp, a teacher to learn from to get sharper. This morning I went to the gym. I have a trainer. The trainer knows more than me, and he's my teacher when it comes to lifting weights. So that's my teacher when it comes to that. I have a teacher for everything. So that's very important. That's going to improve your skill set a lot faster. It gives you that shortcut. It gives you that temporary discomfort, not the type of discomfort where you don't know what you're doing and you keep failing and you're feeling down on yourself and all of that stuff. A teacher will quickly get you through that temporary discomfort into the results stage. And then it's up to you to say, all right, now I want bigger results. I'm going to go through more discomfort. So that will be entirely up to you. That's an internal thing. But the job of the teacher is to get you right through that temporary discomfort, to give you the biggest shortcut he can give you. And so that's my aim with you. The only thing that there is no shortcut for discomfort would be a combat sport. I can't get a teacher and say, all right, teach me boxing and make it comfortable. That's impossible. You're going to get hit, you hit back, you're going to get bruised up, you might even get some broken bones, you might bust up your knuckles, whatever the case is. So unless it's a combat sport, or unless you're in the military, there is anything else out there that aim of the teacher is to get you through that temporary discomfort as fast as possible. Now, the temporary discomfort of you might be that you don't have that much money. My job is to get you through that as quickly as possible. All you have to do is follow my instructions, right? And I've done it for many people already. I've done it for myself. I articulate things in a clear way. I've built the entire marketing system for Cryptonaire Network. All you have to do is copy and paste. Those of you in Cryptonaire Accelerator, all you have to do is buy what I'm buying and sell it when I'm selling. And there we go. Like I've literally given you the greatest shortcut possible that I can think of to help you earn in crypto and to multiply crypto. And so that is what my job is. And I believe everyone needs, and I didn't think this before, but it is the case, just a trustable friend, could be a family member that you can confide in, so you can truly improve. So there are certain things I might be too ashamed or embarrassed to share with certain people, right? Cryptonaire Network members look at me like a hero, but this is happening. And I need to talk to someone about this and get some feedback, get some advice on what I need to do. And so everyone needs that trustable friend they can rely on to talk to confide in, that you know is going to keep your secrets. It's very important to have this person. And so you cultivate your surroundings in terms of people, and you cultivate your surroundings in terms of your physical environment. Now, I don't have a home. I like to travel around all the time. But if I had a home, how I would cultivate my surroundings, kind of the same way I would in Bali, which is have a chef to cook for me, maid to clean every day, driver to drive me around, make things a lot easier, a gym trainer to train me. I'm not going to do boxing here. I'm here just for a little bit of time, but a boxing coach to coach me on boxing. And when I do this, I'm surrounded around success. And so this makes things easier for me. Now, not everyone can afford that. I want every single one of you to reach the point where you can afford that. So that's the reason I'm sharing this with you. But at the beginning, the way that I cultivated my surroundings when I couldn't afford anything at all, when I was in England in the dark gray skies, cold weather, sharing a room with siblings, I have to take a bicycle, I have to ride a bicycle 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever the case was, to school every single day. How did I cultivate my surroundings? It was very simple. I just didn't talk to anyone. I didn't talk to anyone. I went to school, college, first year of university in the Netherlands, came back home. That simple. I went and came back home. And and I read and I spent time on the internet and I learned as much as I could and I failed. I don't know how many times I failed. I have totally lost count. Kept going, kept failing, kept going, kept failing. Nobody knew about it because it was nobody's business. So I cultivated my surroundings by keeping away from everyone. Because I knew if I was around the same people, I will get the same results as them. And I was scared of that. That was my fear. Getting around these people. What some of you are doing, and you are ahead than most people, but some of you are still doing this, is you're chilling and hanging out with people up to no good. They're up to no good. They don't have a big dream. They don't have a big vision. They don't have a goal ahead of pay the bills and slump through life. And what you're doing, some of you, with your time is spending that time, that's precious time, hanging out with them. It's not useful. My closest friends, the ones, the trustable ones that I can confide in, I meet every 6 months, maybe every year. We hardly see each other. But when we decide to see each other, it's, hey, which country are you in? I'm in this country. Which country are you in? I'm over here. All right, let's meet over there. Let's meet in between. And we're talking about the world. We're not talking about here's my house and there's your house in the ghettos. Let's meet in this park over here in the middle, which is how things were for me growing up. But now, hey, I'm in Bali. Where are you? Hey, I'm in Turkey. Okay, let's meet over in this country here. Boom, done. And this is how we would meet up. And so I'm busy with a lot of things. They're busy with a lot of things. But we can confide in each other, and we can get very solid feedback. Like I can get very solid feedback on pretty much anything now. I've cultivated that surrounding. So it's very important to cultivate your surroundings. The next thing, and I'm guilty of this, and which is why that I had to write this down, is you've got to live. I spent a lot of years just working. Rahman, let's do this. No, working. Rahman, let's do that. Busy. Hey, let's do this. No, no, thanks. Waste of time. And I wasn't living. And what I realized was, actually, as I turned 30, I was thinking back and I said, you know what? I've done very little living. You have one life, so you deserve to enjoy the fruits. This is the main point, the fruits of your intensive work. Put in the work, yes. Get the results, yes. Then enjoy while you're still working. So for example, my routine is, and I got to really add this in. It's difficult, but I'm starting to add it in. Once a week, I'm taking off 24 hours completely. Just gonna chill. I'm not gonna work. I'm not gonna look through anything in Cryptonaire network, although everything is up already. And I can schedule emails. I can schedule content for you, so you wouldn't even know that I'm gone. But for 24 hours, once a week, I'm basically going to reset. I'm going to relax. Maybe I'll do an interesting activity. Maybe I'll do nothing. Whatever the case is, once a week, it's my my time off. Next, friendships, relationships add color to life. Very important. And even though I was traveling solo for 10 years, what started to happen was I started to go to regular spots. There were particular cafes that I really liked, particular restaurants that I really liked. environments that I really liked. And anytime I go back there, I always have a positive social interaction. I can travel now, I can say, to at least 20 different countries. I can go somewhere that I haven't been for a few years, and people will recognize me, whether it's the hotel staff, whether it's the waiter or waitress at the cafe. The places that I go to now, when I came back to Bali here, I got recognized straight away. So I went to maybe 4 different places. I got recognized straight away. Hey, how have you been? It's been a while. Are things going great? Da, 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 da. We caught up on many conversations. And this is very important. As a matter of fact, positive social, this is a study done on how to live a long life. And the number one on the list was positive social interaction. It came above diet. It came above exercise. It came above those 2 things, positive social interactions. That's why you see people that are 100 and something years old, and they talk about, oh, I smoke a cigar a day or a packet of cigarettes a day. I drink like a fish, or whatever they say. What it was down to was mainly positive social interactions. And I'm not telling you to do those things, but I am telling you that it's important. And whether you're an extrovert or an introvert, everyone needs a social circle. We're social beings by nature, right? We are social beings by nature. Number 6, this is something that I was wrong about, because I was thinking balance is not possible. You've got to go crazy on one area in your life. And once you go crazy in one area of your life, everything else is going to burn. And then before it completely burns, you have to let off the gas from this area of your life and then get to work in these areas of your life. And then you're constantly sprinting like that. That's going to burn you out. So balance is possible. Give you an example. I wake up early in the morning. I go to the gym. Okay, so I'm eating clean. I go to the gym. I sit down, I get to work for a few hours for you. So work gets done, quality food, I've exercised, I've had 2 meals, all by 12 p.m. Now, the rest of the day, okay, I can relax a little bit, I can read, I could think about the next steps for Cryptonaire Network, how I can basically make things a lot bigger, 100 times bigger, whatever the case is. Who do I need to bring on board? What needs to get improved? What do I need to switch up a little bit? What do I need to test? Things of that nature. And so that takes up a few other hours of the day. And then the rest of the day, I'm fairly relaxed. So balance actually is possible. You can be extremely fit, extremely rich, have incredible relationships, because 24 hours in a day is a lot more than most people give it credit for. A lot more than most people give it credit for. Now, you might be working full time and have a family, and so you might have 2 hours of the day. That 2 hours could be enough. And I can safely tell you that it is enough. If you spend those 2 hours a day on Cryptonaire Network, it is enough for you to reach a stage where you no longer have to be in that full-time job or that part-time job. And now you can do this full-time. Now you've cleared up your entire 24 hours. So 2 hours a day is enough. Next, and I've personally never had an issue with this, but I realized by starting to open up and talk to people and socializing a little bit, a lot of people don't trust themselves. They've got a very low self-esteem. I have no idea where it comes from, because we're all human beings, right? Joseph and I, we're both human. Marjan and I, Ariel and I, we're all human beings. And so what one person can do, by definition, you can do. What one person can do, by definition, you can do. Then the argument will come, well, Rahman, life is not fair. This person started off ahead of me. That might be true, but I guarantee you, somebody started off behind you that has achieved more than both of us. Some people out there have started off behind us and have gotten ahead of us. And some people have started off ahead of us in life and are now behind us. So always trust yourself. Now, it's easy to trust yourself when you are formulating good habits, when you're cultivating your surroundings, and when you're seeing progress. Very easy to trust yourself. But until then, I want you to trust that you will get those habits in order, that you will cultivate your surroundings. And the way to do that is by just doing it. It's literally, it's a decision. This isn't something that requires skill. It's not something that requires anything outlandish. It just requires you to say, that's it, I'm doing it, it's done. What do I have to do? You write it down on a piece of paper. I need to cut this all off. I need to start this right here. And then it kicks off from there. Now, a quick piece of advice on how to do that in the simplest way possible is something called a keystone habit. Keystone habit. A keystone habit is one habit that's going to completely change your 24 hours. So what could that habit be? For me, my keystone habit that changed all my other habits naturally, automatically, was waking up in the morning to go to the gym. What happened? I woke up in the morning to go to the gym. Because I worked out very hard, it made me want to eat clean food. So I ate clean food, which gave me more energy. I then got to work. By the time I finished getting to work, I'm now exhausted in the evening that I just want to go to sleep. And because I'm exhausted in the evening, I end up waking up early in the morning and I repeat the cycle. All of that came from one habit, which was waking up early in the morning and the first task, get to the gym. So this is what you call a keystone habit. So a keystone habit can change your life. It will change your life. Everyone has a keystone habit, and your keystone habit might be waking up to go to your 9 to 5. If you have 2 hours of the day and that's all you have, your keystone habit could be going through Cryptonaire network, just going through all of the content and taking action on it. That could be your keystone habit. Now, one thing that I did correct early on, is I had one source of information. Most beginners seem to think I have to get as many sources of information as possible and try to put the pieces together. You wouldn't be a beginner if you're able to put the pieces of the information together. You wouldn't be a beginner. You'd be someone who is highly skilled. So for a beginner, what's important is one trustable source of information. For you, that's Cryptonaire network. Everything you need is literally right here. Remember the competence levels? There are so many things you're unconsciously incompetent on that you going elsewhere and looking at other sources of information and trying to learn from many different places, what it will do, it will slow down your progress to zero. So what I did was I found a mentor who taught me everything, and it was one person. Then I understood things. Then I tested with my own money, right? So I would do paid advertising, and I would test different things with my own money based on the template that he gave me. And from there, I continued to improve over the last 10 years, 10 plus years. So my sources of information at the very beginning was one. This is very important for you to understand. Next, compete with yourself. Many people, they love to butt heads with each other. They love to compete. You love to compete with your friends. You love to compete with your neighbors. You love to compete with other people that are around you. And this is it's a way for you to boost your ego if you're ahead, and it's a way for you to crush your ego if you lose. You're competing with yourself. The hardest competitor is yourself, because you have the same skill set as you. And in order to beat you, you have to become better than you. And this is a perpetual motion of positive feedback where, okay, I need to be able to be much better than I was last week. I need to be much wiser than I was last month. I need to outdo myself from last year completely in every single way. And so when you do this and you compete with yourself, what's really happening is you're forcing yourself to improve on every metric when you compete with yourself. And this goes more for the man than it does for the woman in this particular statement here, which is life as a man is about dominating, right? We build physical strength to dominate potential danger. We build business models, and business models obviously could male, female, whatever the case is, to dominate the market. We don't have this frame of mind to compete. Imagine somebody tries to put your family in danger. Do you want to compete with them, or do you want to dominate them completely? You want to dominate this person completely. You want to dominate the threats. You don't want to compete with the threat, right? What we want to compete with is ourselves. But what we want to do is we want to dominate everything around us. Our entire environment, we want to dominate. Not so much, not impose rules. I'm not saying that. I'm saying dominate in the sense of win, right? And in order for you to dominate, that doesn't mean someone else loses. It just means you're doing what you're doing so well that the market has shifted towards you. That's what it means to dominate. So it's very important to compete with yourself, not with other people. Now, I tell you this from experience, because not my own personal experience, but from watching people over the years. When I have noticed people trying to compete with me or compete with other people, and they're always talking about, oh, look what these people are doing. I want to do 10 times better than that person and 10 times better than this company. They have never gotten that far. But when I have spoken to people who are all about competing with themselves, I have noticed something very interesting. Every time I meet them, they seem to have improved because they're competing with themselves. But when I tend to meet out of, let's say, 100 people who are trying to compete with other people, 20 of them have completely given up because they've taken some losses. Damn, that person was much better than I thought. That company are doing much bigger numbers than I thought. And what happened is their ego got crushed. They've basically just flatlined, and they're in the exact same position they were in, and I'm talking to them 3 years later. Or they're even behind where they were 3 years ago. And that's because they were trying to compete with other people, other companies, other numbers, other figures. Only compete with yourself. And I think this is very important. So that's why I put that there. Now, let me check the messages over here. Few people wishing happy birthday and stuff. Okay, good. By the way, guys, are you getting some good feedback from this? Are you learning a lot from this? I posted this on the Cryptonaire Network official Instagram page, so you can always read through this life philosophy. Perfect. All right. And I'm explaining this to you because all of this is based on, everything that I've always said is based on actual results, actual numbers. It's based on personal experience. It's based on real things. I don't do things based on opinion. Assumption is the mother of all screw ups. This was one of the favorite sayings of my mentor back in the past. Never assume, right? So anything I tell you, none of it is based on assumption. Next, number 9, solitude is necessary. Being alone is absolutely necessary sometimes. And I've seen the ups and the downs of people who have to constantly be surrounded by other people. I have noticed that people who cannot be alone are running away from something inside of them. They're running away from it and they're masking it by being around people all the time. Now, where is I'm looking for the term here. It's just tip of my tongue right now. Where is a high concentration? That's what I'm looking for. Where is a high concentration of people that are running away from themselves? These are socialites, people that are always out socializing. They're at every single event everywhere, networking everywhere, always around people. They seem to be the life of the party, in the center of attention, all that stuff. These people, every single one of them are running away from something. And they're too scared to sit down alone and think it through. So most people that are afraid to be alone are actually cowards. And I don't want any Cryptonaire Network member to be a coward. I want you to be brave. I want you to really feel any regrets that you have in life. People oftentimes say, oh, don't think about your regrets. The past is the past, or whatever the case is. I want you to sit down and I want you to analyze just how life is going right now. Are you on an upwards trajectory or are you on a downward trajectory, and why? If you are on a downward trajectory, if you're on an upward trajectory, can I do things better? And how? What do I need to do? How do I make more money with less time? Maybe you will start thinking later. How do I cultivate my surroundings and all of this stuff? All of this thinking only happens when you're alone. It can't happen when you're surrounded by people and surrounded by noise all of the time. I get, oftentimes, if I'm outside somewhere and someone turns on some music and says, oh, do you know this artist? And I say, no, I don't listen to music. Everyone is shocked. What? You don't listen to music? And I had never, ever open my phone or get on the laptop, go on YouTube and write down this artist and this song, and I want to listen to it. I don't do that. I like peace and quiet so I can think. I like peace and quiet so I can think. It's very important for me, right? I got a lot going on. I got big responsibilities with you guys, right? So I like to always be in a state of mind where I can think clearly. And music is kind of like a mantra. And a lot of it is complete nonsense. Why would I listen to someone who's poorer than me, financially, not in shape as me, doesn't have the freedom that I have, doesn't have valuable input? I like privacy, they like publicity. So why would I turn on the music, listen to someone, some artist, some famous artist, or whoever it is, when they don't have as much money as me, they don't have as much freedom as me, they want to be famous but crave privacy, but I have privacy and I don't crave to be famous. Why would I listen to someone like that? Right? It doesn't make any sense. So even from a logical standpoint, it doesn't make any sense. From your side also, it doesn't make sense. But people are very shocked by that. I literally don't listen to music ever, unless I hear it when I'm outside. But solitude is very important. Solitude will tell more to you about yourself than anything else. No conversation with anyone can tell you more about yourself than you sitting alone in a room somewhere. Now, one thing that I want to do for this next decade, instead of just traveling around all of the time, is to buy a piece of land, build a house. One little room I'm going to make in that house, villa, compound, complex, with no windows, no technology, just an empty square and a bed in the middle and a chair. Nothing else. Pitch black. It's not going to be ensuite, no walk-in wardrobe there, no bathroom there, nothing. It's going to be a little space somewhere in a little corner, and that's going to be my solitude space. When I really have to think deeply. So solitude is necessary. As I travel, I have spaces and areas in the world that is my solitude. Certain cafes in certain regions of the world, in a far off corner somewhere in an alleyway, that's you go there and it's like a very nice hidden tea house or whatever the case is. It could be a kebab shop and in the train station. It could be anyway. I got certain areas that are my secret kind of solitude space. So I'm not going to share that. You want to keep your solitude space private. Keep it to yourself. But everyone needs to have that. It's very important to have that. As let's go back to the gray skies again. I don't like to think about it. Back in London, in the ghettos, somewhere off in the corner, growing up, my space for solitude, and I had it then, was the library. I would go to the library, sit in a corner somewhere. That was my space for solitude. Nobody's going to be there because the people that I was surrounded by when I was playing football or soccer, as Americans call it, were up to no good outside of the field, outside of the sport, and so I wasn't hanging around anyone. I would just go to the library. Didn't have any money. The library was free. It was a public library. So anyone can have that space. So find your space. This is something very important. And if you can, go to that space sometime this week. Spend an hour, spend 2 hours. No one's allowed there. Not your spouse, not your kids, not your friends, not your peers, absolutely nobody. Because you need to sit down sometimes on your own and think. Next, words. Words have power, extreme power. In fact, there is a word And some of you have, maybe some of you participants have been around me, and some of you have not. Most of you have not actually. But there is a particular word. Everyone that knows me knows that it pisses me off. Excuse my language. I'm heating up right now just thinking of that word. The E word is the most foul, disgusting word in the dictionary. The E word, expensive. I can't even say it. Phew. Expensive is the word. When you say something is expensive, what you're really saying is, and this is how the mind works, right? The way the mind works is that it doesn't have infinite space to basically look at something and then have to figure out what that something is. So I'll give you an example. If you look at a water bottle and you drink from this water bottle all of the time, and you can see, like I'm looking at a water bottle right now that I got from the grocery store. I look at this water bottle and in my mind, I didn't have to think, is that vinegar or is that water? Because vinegar and water is the same color. And so the reason I don't have to think that is because I drank from this bottle of water and I purchased from this grocery store many times. So I know it's water, so I don't have to think about it. Right? That's how the mind works. If you literally had to think, is that plant real? Is this table made of solid or liquid and all of this stuff? What happens is your brain is just going to explode. You can't handle that amount of information. And so the things and the words that you repeat goes into what's called your subconscious. You don't have to think about it. So I don't have to think whether that water bottle could be vinegar for all I know. There is a possibility, if I think about it, there is a possibility that that water bottle, instead of water, has vinegar in it. But it didn't come into my mind. This table could have been liquid. I didn't know that, right? It could have been liquid. It could have been a cake. I was scrolling through Instagram just to see what people do on Instagram. And I saw someone making real objects that appear to be that particular object, but it was a cake. So this table could have been a cake, but it didn't run through my mind that it was a cake, right? So you got your conscious mind, which can take a limited amount of information. And so what you repeat to your conscious mind goes into the bigger source of information, the greater storage of information, far greater storage of information, which is your subconscious mind. So whenever you use the word, the E word, what you're really saying is this: whether I make $1 million or $100 million, I promise myself, this is what you're saying, I promise myself I'm going to lose it all because this has to be expensive. I've kept saying that this is expensive. It's in the subconscious, and the subconscious says, hang on, you can't have $1 million because this is expensive. So we need to lose that million. Now, the proof in this is lottery winners. Lottery winners have been saying that is the E word, that's the E word, that's the E word. I don't have this and I don't have that. Poor me and poor that. I'm going to leave everything to chance. And so I'm not going to cultivate my surroundings. I'm not going to upgrade my skill sets, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to go and gamble. And I've won the lottery. Now, there's a study. The bigger the lottery, and there's no endpoint to it, meaning literally, even if it's $1 billion, the bigger the lottery win, the sooner the person goes back to his original life, or worse, because of the words he has chosen. So I have always said, even from the tender age of 16 and 17, I will never use the E word. And it disgusts me when my friends say it. I tell them, and I tell them this story all the time. I say, never use the E word ever, because it's going to sink into your subconscious when you repeat it, so that you don't have to think about it. And that becomes who you are. And so when you end up doing great things and big things, you'll end up figuring out unconsciously just ways to screw it up, and you screw it up. Maybe because you use the E word so much, you're not copy pasting the marketing material I gave you and sending it out everywhere. It's such an easy action step. Many people have made money from it. And so I believe a lot of people in Cryptonaire network who are not getting results is because they've been using the E word. It's because you've got something here. You're so close to success that you have to screw it up by not taking action. You have to screw it up by making yourself overwhelmed by it. That's how close to success you are. But you use the E word often. So what did I do? Is I always said, this is cheap. I'll buy it later, or I'll come back to it later. I'm a bit busy right now. That's what I said to myself from a young age. And it's worked out for me. Now, technically, most things are extremely cheap. So words have power. Everything I accomplished was through words. So you have to choose your words very carefully. It's sharper than the sword. Be very careful about that. Very important. Next, take a deep breath. Don't overwhelm yourself. I'm a victim of this, certainly. Sometimes I overwhelm myself. Sometimes I try to be a perfectionist. Sometimes I think to myself, I've got this many people that I'm responsible for. Then I Google, can this fill a stadium? And wow, it can fill up way more than a stadium. Then I say to myself, well, this is interesting. I've got an email list this size. That means that 3 people die every day from my email list. Now I need to make sure that they can pass on their legacy. And I need to find ways to always take care of not just you guys, but the next generation. So now I've got to make sure that I'm outside of the business of Cryptonaire Network and it can still function. So if anything happens to me, things can still work for you. And if anything happens to you, your family's still good and things are still taken care of. And I start overwhelming myself a little bit. These thoughts, by the way, I've had before I set up Cryptonaire Network. So all of that stuff is in place already. Simply just share your username and password to someone else that you trust, or have it somewhere as a store of value. And then things will always be running. Things will always be running. With or without me also. If something happens to me, it will still be running. God forbid anything happens to me, but things will still be running. But you got to take a deep breath sometimes, right? Some things are always going to be out of your control. Some things you can't control. It could be death in the family. It could be an accident. Maybe 2 weeks ago, I was cutting my nails, and so I had the nail clipper in my luggage. Must have collected some dirt. And then I caught an infection and I nearly lost my thumb. So some things you can't control, right? Some things you can't control, and some things you can control. Stress comes from, and I always like to go to the linguistics of things. I like to go to the deep-rooted meaning of things. Why are some people in stress? And I've noticed I've gone deeper and deeper and deeper. And the deepest I could go, I couldn't dig any further, is that stress is caused from not knowing what you can control and what you can't control. That's simply what stress means. So, for example, someone comes up to me, Rahman, damn it, I'm 50. I'm out of shape. I've lost money. I've got nothing. And I'm stressed out. Why is he stressed out? Can he control that he's 50? No. So don't even think about it. There's nothing to think about there. And 10 years from now, you're 60. You'll wish you were 50. So always be grateful for your present moment. So you can't control that. So you shouldn't be stressed by that. If you're stressed by that, you're stupid. You can't be 50 and stupid. So it all comes down to not knowing what you can control or can't control. Now, if there's something you can do something about, okay, I'm 50 and I'm out of shape. Can you control that? Yes. You can exercise, you can eat right. If you've got a low drive, maybe you can take testosterone replacement if you're an older person, and you've got low drive or whatever the case is. I've got extremely high drive, so I don't need, and I'm 30. So there are things you can control, things you can't control. If you can control something, you need to basically sit down and think to yourself, what resources do I have to fix this? And how can I do it? Sometimes you don't need resources. Sometimes you just need to do it. I can tell you from experience, most people's stress is because they're living a passive life. I haven't met someone stressed out I haven't met a failure who's stressed out. Now, I have never met a failure who's stressed out. I've known people that failed. Everything they just do, they're just failing. They keep failing over and over again, and they're happy because they're trying. They're trying. They can go to sleep knowing I put in the effort. They might be exhausted, which is what requires for them to take a deep breath. They might be exhausted, which is what requires them to have a sense of solitude and really just think things through and just relax and be alone for a little bit, right? They might be tired from failing over and over again. So they might have to mourn or laugh about it with a friend, right? But I've never seen them stressed because they're too damn busy trying to make things work. None of them have regretted any of their failures once they've succeeded. And they look back at it with joy. So I can tell you from my personal experience, I have gone through so many things in my past, over the past 10 years, and I don't regret any of them. The most horrible things, and I don't regret, because it shaped who I am today. I still have that joyful smile, but a lot of innocence is gone. I inspect and analyze a lot more. I make sure I take care of you guys. I can see bullshit when I see it. And I have a keen eye for that based on experience. And so even if I get burnt a few times by people over the past 10 years, it doesn't change the fact that I loved those experiences, because it allows me to make sure you don't get burnt. And just yesterday, I was spending time with a friend and he was talking to me about something, and I paused him right there. I stopped him right there. I said, you're going to get screwed over because of this, this, and this. And I told him, go and ask these particular questions. And if the person cannot answer it or fumbles, then you've caught the nonsense. He went and asked the person, caught the nonsense, and said, thank you. He was about to invest $250,000, I think it was. So I just saved him $250,000. So I wouldn't take back any of those experiences, but you do need to take a deep breath sometimes, right? So figure out what's out of your control, what's in your control. Getting financially rich in your control, Cryptonaire network. Go through the information. Getting in shape in your control. Exercise and eat clean. increasing your skill set on making more commission in your control. Go through the content of Cryptonaire Network and ask questions. You want more swipes in your control, ask me. By the way, email swipes are coming. More email swipes will come tomorrow. I forgot to upload it as I was working on many other things, and I was talking to tech, designer, this and that, yada, yada. And so I need to, I gave it already, but I need to emphasize to get it up. So anything you guys need, let me know, and I'll help you out. And you've got a lot more is in your, this is what I want to tell you, which should ease things for you. There's a lot more in your control than you think. A lot more in your control than you think. Whether you make $100 or $10 million, you can still have privacy in your life, because $10 million in the grand scheme of the world economy is nothing. $1 billion in the grand scheme of the economy is nothing. So you can literally be a billionaire in private, nobody knows you. And that's a sweet place to be, obviously. So a lot more is in your control than you think. All you have to do is sit down and think about, what do I have in front of me that can help me? What resources do I have available? You've got me, you've got Cryptonaire Network, and that should be a great joy for you in knowing that you've got that shortcut, that you will go through some temporary discomfort, as I mentioned in number 2, but you got to seek pleasure in that. My job is to be able to shake your hand and say, you're going to go through some discomfort, but you're going to get results at the end of it. And I can promise you that if you continue to take action. That's my job, to be able to say that. And I can tell you with full confidence that I can do that. And I could have told you this before I set up Cryptonaire Network, that I can do that for you, because I've done it for people for many, many years already. But the results now speak for themselves. Cryptonaire Network results speak for themselves. So it can be done and it can be achieved. Inuwa, I'll check your message, your private message right after this. So I'm going to just copy. I'm going to copy this here. Jed is trying to access the top 10 coins. Jed, the way to access the top 10 coins, you will go to Cryptonaire Accelerator, get access, click allow, click start. Well, I've already subscribed, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this up so that even if I've subscribed already, it's going to give me the registration for it. So in fact, I might just do that right now. So now I'm going to show you guys some of the things happening on the inside. So I'm going to go to chatbot, Cryptonaire Network, flows, $97 buyer. Yeah, edit the flow. So this is the message you would have gotten, and you would then click create access. Now, so I don't share the link publicly and give everyone access for free, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to change this right here. So it's gonna now say, 1 second, you already subscribed to the Cryptonaire Accelerator Telegram membership. Here you go again. Add button, URL, register for access, add, apply, save, done. Now, if you click it again, Let me go to Zoom, share screen. Perfect. Right. Now, if you do it again, it's going to show you right here. It's going to give you access again. All right. So this is one of the bots here that I've set up. And there we go. So that's something that is very important for you to actually go through the information that I give, because it's as clear as day, which means that you made a mistake. I didn't make a mistake. You made a mistake. I've set up systems and looked through every possible angle of error. But Jed, thank you, because what you did now was help me make things even more clear. Because imagine I registered for Cryptonaire Accelerator. I didn't go through the content because I was lazy or I forgot about it. And I come back a month later and I try to get access and it tells me, oh, you already got access. But I don't have access because I clicked it and now I have to scroll through what? A gazillion messages, because I message you guys every single day, keep you updated every day. So what you just did now, Jed, was you helped improve Cryptonaire Network. So everybody, just say thank you to Jed. Vera said, Rahman, it's always a pleasure listening to you and I've been inspired by you. However, I've done everything to gain access, but I've not gotten access to the top 10 coins too. Please help me. Now you just click on get access and register, and the membership literally will tell you exactly, it will show you exactly where it is. It's module 1. Frank says, hey Rahman, happy 30th. Do you have any updates about Minthub, public launch date, etc.? No new updates. It's past $0.1. It's past the 10-cent mark, which is absolutely phenomenal. And because it started out at 0.5 cents. So it's gone up extremely high already, 2,000% roughly. It's got another 1,000% from the starting price. And then it's going to launch publicly. Could be any moment. My thing that I need to figure out, which of the coins should I put up next? Because as soon as we launch publicly, I want to make sure you guys are still able to earn some great commissions and make some great money. So what I have to do is actually put another token inside of the dashboard, work out some kind of a deal, and it's got to be a project that I like. I love Minthub so much. I've invested heavily into it also. And it's very difficult. Right now, even the man that I am today, I'm struggling to find something to the caliber of Minthub that I can back up and say, I like these guys. I like this vision here. So I'm still looking around for that. Nothing to do with Minthub. When Minthub goes to 15 cents, it's going to launch publicly. Once it launches publicly and it's off the dashboard, what's going to happen is a new coin is going to be placed inside of the dashboard, because I want to make sure you guys can earn the big commissions. Right, Jed, you've got a lot of people saying thank you. All right. That's it for now. We've been talking for a while. Thank you so much for being on here. 30th birthday. I shared 11 life philosophies. I hope you take this to heart. I also did share a post before that about the 3 a.m. alarm clock that saved my life. True story it was. This happened in the Netherlands. I went for university for 1 year to get away from everyone. And literally, environment is that important. I was cultivating my surroundings by getting away from every single person that I know. And I did that by going to the Netherlands, getting a scholarship for engineering. Went there for the first year and I skipped half the classes. I was just focused on trying to make things work. And I woke up at 3 a.m. to attend an online seminar. It wasn't Zoom. They used another platform, but it was basically the same thing. I attended a 3 a.m. Zoom session, basically. And I learned a few things. A lot of things were not covered. I don't know why. most people, they don't want to give away a lot of good, solid, free information. I like to give away all of my information for free. So that saved my life, that one decision. So I discussed that one decision. So definitely read that post too. Anyway, that being said, this is Rahman signing out. Thank you so much for being here. And let's talk later. Peace.